Hey, Jabbers, we are back today and we are talking about how you don't have to pick one identity to succeed and how you can navigate business and career pivots, reinventions, and building a business without abandoning parts of who you are. But first, let me introduce our guest. Liza Spirit is a spiritual mentor, educator, and day trader whose work bridges the gap between inner alignment and real world success. She helps people integrate spirituality, psychology, and financial growth to create a life that feels both meaningful and abundant. Throughout her life, Lisa has reinvented herself multiple times, changing career paths more than four times in pursuit of work that truly fulfills her and allows her to reach her full potential. Her journey reflects a powerful message: you don't have to choose just one identity to succeed. With over a decade of meditation practice, spirituality, and a background in communications and educational psychology, Lisa teaches that success comes from alignment rather than fitting into societal labels. Through her mentorship, trading, education, and spiritual guidance tools like numerology and meditation, she empowers people to embrace all parts of who they are and build a path that reflects their true selves. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that intro.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. This all feels very in line with I feel like what I'm going through, but I'm also like trying to get more into meditation. And I just feel like you have a really interesting life story. So this will be fun.
Yes. Thank you. I'm excited as well.
And it's cool because you have a good balance of, for lack of a better term, woo woo, which we love. Like, don't get me wrong, we love that. But also it sounds like day trading, financial stuff, like that is very concrete math, numbers, like both feet are on the ground and you've got to focus. So that's kind of fun. Tell us a little bit more how that is for you and how did you tap into both sides of yourself like that?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. I think it took me a while. It definitely took years of my personal self growth and reflections and diving deeper and finding out what do I like. Interesting fact, my biggest jump was I worked in marketing for 5 years. After I graduated from university, like 5 years, going deep into marketing. That's what I studied. And then at one point, I realized I know how to do it. I can do it. Do I like doing it? Questionable. I don't think so. Doesn't bring me joy, doesn't bring me happiness, fulfillment. No. So every day I would wake up and feeling I'm tired, I don't have energy, I don't want to do anything. And those are usually the signs that, okay, something is going on and something is wrong going on as well in your space. And it became not about the money because I was getting paid a very high salary. And if we have an honest talk here, it was a six-figure salary, pretty good, comfortable remote job. And I started doing a part-time gig, which was design in the wedding industry. And so I moved into the wedding field. And that was my part-time project. I have also a diploma in interior design. And I was like, I'm going to start doing something more creative. And I got myself into the event decorator position in Vancouver, working in the events and weddings industry, specifically focusing on Indian weddings. And it was such an interesting shift for me because it was a creative flow. Okay, oh my God, I'm going to do something with my hands, crafts, building, designing, staging. And that was actually so fulfilling for me. And I had to make that jump because I was like, I cannot do marketing anymore. I love doing the creative work more. Yes, it is physically exhausting, as you guys know, working in the wedding industry, especially during the summer season. I remember we had like 3 receptions in one day. We had to set up some of them like 1,000 people, and you're running around trying to do it. And then you're like, but I found it's fun. So I switched and I made the jump, and it was a huge jump from like six figures to five. If we're talking about like US dollars, my salary was only like 40K a year maximum, but I was like lead designer and doing so many things. But it was definitely more about fulfillment and that inner peace that, okay, I'm actually feeling so much better now. I don't have the anxiety, I don't have the fear, I don't have to crash down at the middle of the day because I don't like it, I don't enjoy it at all. So that's how that all started with those shifts from different industries completely. And slowly, sometimes life started throwing extra challenges. And I'm an immigrant. I moved to Canada over 10 years ago. And as an immigrant, you have some additional issues such as immigration processes. And while I was working in design, I got a very nice position to switch to Lululemon to work for like a tech, completely different tech. It was a tech project management role. And I was like, okay, I'm jumping in. This is exciting. And that's how I left the whole wedding industry just to go into the corporate world. But then my work permit extension got refused. 2 months in, I was like, that's it. Effective immediately, you're not allowed to work in a country anymore. And you're like, okay, I came back home. I remember I was walking in the street. I found out about it. I came back home, said it to my husband. I'm like, well, I got refused. I don't know what am I supposed to do now. And I think I used that time of figuring it out because I was not allowed to work anymore. Okay, let's go study. Let's go study. Let's go see what's going on in my life. What do I like? Because I feel like we are always in that stage of running around. Let's run, let's do something, and let's achieve new goals, new opportunities. And you never have an opportunity to pause and think and ask yourself, is it in alignment with me? Do I know where I'm going? And I realized that for many years, I had that illusion of doing things, but you're kind of running in circles. You run in circles. You have so much motion. Oh my God, everybody would think that you're growing, you're developing, you're doing so much. But when you pause, you realize, well, I wasn't going up. I was actually just stuck in one place, going in circles with everything that's going on. So I had about 4 to 5 months to just study, explore. And that's how I got into trading, because I had all the time in the world to go and do different things. And my husband back at that time, it was 3 years ago, was doing trading already for half a decade. And I came one day and said, I'm like, teach me that. I want to know what you do. I like the numbers. I think that's about me. Some facts. I love the numbers, even if it's numerology numbers, even if it's statistics or something. I do love working with numbers. And he started sharing the knowledge with me. He started explaining. And that's how I was like, okay, let's step more into this. And something just clicked. Something just clicked. And when it clicks, you actually feel it. You're like, okay, this is it. After all of those trials and errors, you're like, okay, feels exciting. And it's hard, but it's exciting.
I love that you've had like all of these different paths. I feel like I've been seeing recently online people just talking about like leaving their corporate jobs and they're like, I am a barista and I love it. And it's just like going back to these things that like isn't soul sucking for them and just finding things that they enjoy. And this one girl was like, I just love like interacting with people and getting to know people's life stories and making coffee. And I just love it's kind of like figuring out what clicks for you, right?
Yes, totally.
Well, and we have to remember like this like very corporate traditional 40-hour work week of like working from the age of 16 to 65 and then quote unquote living your life after that when you're retired it's not what millennials want. I don't think it's what Gen Z want. It's definitely not how the world works anymore. So if thinking about how many years of our lives we are truly working, we better do something that we enjoy. Something that I was going to ask you, Liza, first of all, I have to say, you and I have many, many things in common. I just want to point out a couple things. I'm Canadian also, so love that. I also worked for Lululemon. I also did marketing, and I also am in the wedding industry. So I was like, listen, girl, our paths have crossed in so many different ways. I absolutely love that. But I think what's interesting about your story and how maybe many of us have gone this way is that in order for you to get to the next passion or career path or whatever, you had to have gone through the previous one, right? So you said you started with marketing, that led you to events. Events led you to the day trading and stuff like that. So and I'm sure looking back on it, it's not like you regret any of those previous jobs or any careers like that, because it's now leading you to the next thing. What's a belief about success that you had to completely unlearn in order to reinvent yourself? Because I think people often think, well, I should have stayed in that job for 40 years in order to feel successful, or I should have achieved six-figure salary and then moved on, and that would have been successful.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think like I definitely did have that shift about success and specifically about the monetary value. Like I think especially when you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, you're like success is only about money. I would value my worth or, how at the end of the year you want to reflect. Did I achieve my goals? Did I progress? And every year for like a couple years in a row, I would say like, no, nothing. I have not achieved anything. I have not done anything. I have not progressed. Why? Because I would look at the numbers. I would look at how much money I made, how many followers I gained, like how many businesses I started. So it's really, truly about all of those material things. And I think that's the main thing that I had to relearn and shape my mind in that case, that success is measured differently and means different for different people. Yes, maybe I did not grow financially, even in my example of going down from six-figure to like five figures. It's definitely not a success story that you want to hear. But I shaped myself as a person. I changed who I am. I learned new skills. I passed through different lessons. I had some personal things happening in life as well, which shaped me who I am. And I developed more and became more mature and emotional resilient in many things that could help me build later on more businesses and make more money and so on. But I think just people need to remember that success is different for different people. For some people, success is about becoming a mom and building a family, right? For some people, it would be like, this is not a success. Like, you are becoming a mom. Are you going to tell me it's a success? No. For some people, it's about money. For some people, it's about starting a business. For some people, it's about, I don't know, moving to another country or spending more time with the family because they never did that in the past. So just acknowledging that part that it is different for everyone. And I guess depending on your season in life, that can change as well how you identify that success.
Well, I think it's like breaking societal norms, so to speak, right? Of like success is usually like you said, how much money you're making, where you're at in your career. And we don't have to follow that or believe that. But I feel like that's a hard thing for a lot of people to break from.
Yeah, for sure. I think because it's easier to measure it by numbers. Everything you do, can I put a number next to it? But how can you measure what's happening inside of you? If you don't look and do the personal reflections, if you don't go through the therapy, coaching, mentorship, because if you have those people around you, they can tell you, look, you were here a month ago. This is where you are at now in your personal growth journey. But there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who are not that self-aware of the journey they're going through. And it's easy to get into that loophole of saying like, I have not achieved anything. I have not done anything. I'm useless. And just sit down and beat yourself down that you're not moving or growing.
And I feel like your health in general, like you were saying, like you're not burnt out, you actually enjoy your life and just being healthier in general is such a success. And sometimes people don't realize that until it's too late, right? Like they're so burnt out or like they have health issues because of a job. And so it's good to recognize that sooner so that you can find that path to success for yourself, even if that means like how healthy you are.
Yeah, totally.
So, Lisa, a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, feel this pressure to like pick a niche, right? Or stick to one identity. What is your thoughts on like how do you know the difference between staying focused in your business versus suppressing parts of yourself that you actually want to grow? And like maybe it's having a different niche or pivoting your business.
That's a good point that I got myself trapped into that whole idea of society that you have to stick to one thing and do it. And so many people told me in the past that I lack of focus, I lack of direction because I have so many other things that are happening in life. But to be honest, the way I look at it, if not for all of those experiences, as Gabby mentioned as well a few minutes ago, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't gain so many skills. I wouldn't know how to do the design creative work. When I started working in the design wedding industry, I didn't know that I can do florals so well. I thought everybody could do it. I came and I had to do my floral arrangements, and people looked at me like, you are done and you just did it in 5 minutes. I was like, yeah, it was easy, right? Everybody can do it. And people would be like, no, it took me like a couple months to learn how to do it. I was like, yeah, probably I'm good at it. So if not all of those experiences in the past, I wouldn't learn so much about myself, my skills, my talents, and what I'm good at right now. So it definitely helped to explore other sides of who you are. So that's why I always say to people, to my clients who come to me, try different things. Don't be afraid to actually try. And if you feel like you become limited in one industry and what you do, just explore something else. The key point is to just leave without regrets, that at the age of 60, 65, you're like, "Oh, I wish I've tried it. I wish I did that more in the past." And in terms of the niche and focus, and as I mentioned, I even had people in my close circle in my family telling me, like, you need to focus. And it comes to the age, oh my God, you're past 25, you have to find the focus, especially coming from the parents who are more of an old school style. What are you doing? You're doing something wrong with your life. And like this judgment of old traditions is coming into place, that you need to have a corporate job and focus on something specifically. And I think that comes to the point again to that realignment of who you are. That's how I started combining the trading and spirituality. And I created my platform and community that's called Spirit Trading. And the whole point is that you have the emotional aspect, and 80% of success is coming from the psychology. If you don't know how to handle your emotions, if you don't know how to handle stress, losses, you will struggle. You will struggle with money. You will struggle with greed. You will lose more even than how much you're making. And I just said it like, no, I am going to do it. I don't know if you're telling me you don't believe in it, that people are not interested in spirituality. I believe in it. And I think it also comes to that point, do what you believe in, not what other people are telling you. Other people don't know so many different things and factors that if you truly believe, you're just gonna get to that point. And that's the most important part. You have that strong inner strength to do the things. But yeah, in terms of the focus for business, I always say some people give up too early when it comes to business. And it's just always, again, important to pause and ask yourself, am I giving up and want to switch right now because I'm lazy? I am procrastinating. I am avoiding the hard moments, and which is not possible to avoid. And I think that honest talk to pause and just ask yourself why, because none of the business, it's never going to be rainbows and unicorns. That it's so easy, it's so nice, and you will love every single part of the business that you do. No, you got to do goddamn taxes and returns and business expenses and accounting and reports. And this is another side of the business that you have to deal with. So again, just pausing here and asking yourself all of those questions. Are you just want to change the field because you are losing that focus, you're lacking of discipline and consistency, or it is actually you looked at everything, you analyzed everything, and it is actually a time to move to something else and to another field.
Well, and along those same lines, I think Carrie and I are both self proclaimed multi passionate people, is the best way of saying it. But we also say that we joke that we have shiny object syndrome, right? And so we're always chasing a new idea, a new thing, like starting 12 different businesses because we're truly passionate about all these things. But I think maybe part two to this question that Carrie asked is, let's say specifically because mostly wedding pros are listening to this podcast, but they may have other quote unquote secret passions. And it could be related to the wedding industry, or it could be completely irrelevant to the wedding industry, like finance or, day trading and stuff like that. I mean, how does one go about uh, showing up maybe publicly and sharing about those new passions and those new businesses? Or do you feel like they'd have to, probably what they feel like is they have to get to a certain point in that business of success again in order to share it publicly? How have you dealt with that with anybody, or what would you advise?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think I experienced it myself when I had 3 or 4 different Instagram pages, one for design, one for business and trading, one for my personal use, and I had the fourth one for my cat or something like that. So, like 4 different pages at the same time, being and running them in completely different ways and sharing different topics. When at one moment, I just realized this is all about me. This is who I am. And people come for people. Like they want to see true identity, they want to see who you are. And especially at the age of AI and new technologies, we need to show more of that human side. We need to relate to people. We need to show who we are. We all have our story, we all have our own struggles. And showing that different sides of you actually helps to build a better connection with the audience because you have more points you can relate to. Like how at the beginning, Gabby, with all of those points and marketing and Kenneth, oh my God, this, I can relate to you. I can relate to your story as well, right? And for example, if I would just go online and talk only about business, how could people relate to me, to my story and what I do if they don't even know anything about me? How would they even use my service? How they would come to me? They know nothing about my background, who I am. Because again, at the end of the day, people come to people. The human aspect is so important. So share more about yourself. Even if you're a business owner, you want to be so strict. I had that as well. Like, oh my God, I cannot say that out loud because I have clients watching me. Yes, there's some certain ground rules or lines you need to follow. Don't overshare, right? Just the basic stuff. But if you're just sharing about yourself, your struggles, because we see that perfect picture online too much and too often. And when people see the struggles of your story, they can again relate to you. Like, okay, that's an actual human. They actually also, that person also goes through something in life. And usually when we share our struggles, we usually share them by giving people the solution. That's what I've been through. That's what I did. That's what helped me. So other people want to come and learn from you as well. Like, okay, how did you overcome this? What did you do to get better? How did you solve this problem? So adding that component of your personality and who you are, you have your unique point of view. You have your unique way and creative way to do the things. And as you just said, if the person is working in the wedding industry, I remember when I was into it, I would search so many people, different coordinators, organizers, designers, but they will all have their unique style. You will never see somebody doing exactly to the T similar way of even doing social media, handling the clients and doing so much work. It's going to be different. And what is the key point that identifies you, who you are, and clients when they come to you, how do they choose? Should I go to the person ABC? By just looking at you, who you are. Maybe another person behind the screen has a family values and they see like, oh my God, they're also married, they have kids, this resonates with me, and that story resonates with me too. So I want to go with that specific person because of you personally and not just your work.
Yeah. I feel like back in when I started my business, I'm also a photographer, and I feel like so many people were like, you're gonna confuse everyone when you talk about like wedding planning and photography and like other passions. But I feel like that's changed, and it's like you said, people want to connect with you, and I don't have to be afraid to share the multi-passionate things that I do within my business because people enjoy that. And there might be some people who don't want to see all those parts and they can unfollow, right? But I feel like it's different now where it's like share all parts of you because someone might hire you because they're like, oh my God, she also loves X, Y, and Z. So do I, and feel more connected to you. I love
Yeah.
that.
It's very, I think, like inspiring as well for other people to see, like, oh my God, she does the photography and she does the wedding as well at the same time. Isn't it that cool? I can do it as well. Why
Mhm.
not? I don't have to limit myself and just focus on that one industry and that one stream of work only. But that's inspiring. That's possible. It just opens another perspective as well.
You talked a lot about like inner alignment leading to outer success, right? Kind of figuring out who you are, what you want in life. What are some signs, or how do you think like business owners can recognize, I guess, whether they're just building a business or they've been running this business for years and now they're like feeling out of alignment, and but it like looks good on paper, right? So how would you suggest someone kind of figures that out? Because I think Gabby and I have talked about this a lot. My life has transitioned. Even Gabby's kind of figuring out like, how do I want to, direction of my business? And I have kids and I'm like, do I still want to do this? Or I like some days I do, some days I'm like, I don't know anymore. And so I'm like trying to figure out this inner alignment of like what I actually want to do. Because I think one thing that's hard for a lot of entrepreneurs is, well, I've been doing this for so long, like over a decade. This is how I know to make money. It's scary jumping in or pivoting your business to something else when you're like, I don't know if it's going to work out. But I guess how do you decide like to stay on that path because it feels more aligned than maybe where you've been in your business?
That's a good question, especially making that jump. It can be filled with a fear and uncertainty, right? So, before the alignment comes, I always say to everyone, make sure that you have the funds to support your jump, that you have the financial support as well, right? It's either you have your savings if something goes in a wrong direction, that you have a backup plan. Do not jump the ships without having the plan just because, oh, I'm fed up with my corporate work. I cannot do that anymore. Corporate work limits me to do my full-time business, and I need to quit it now, even though my business is not making any money, but I'm quitting now because that's the only solution to succeed. And I always say that, first of all, you don't have to do it that drastically. And again, make sure when you have that switch and when you do the jump, make sure that you have the financial support, the plan, you have your savings for at least 3 months to have it figure it out. And if something, you can find something else and go back to your work or come up with another plan and make the adjustments as well. So that's the foundation. Important part to remember when we change something in life, to make sure that we feel secure from the foundational standpoint, from financial standpoint, to do that. From alignment side, I always say that's your energy is everything. Your body is everything. I've experienced it myself with the clients as well. They would just, let's say you sleep at night, you get your 8 hours of sleep, you do the blood work, the vitamins are good, everything is good. Your Whoop band or whatever band, the tracking of your sleep you use, saying like amazing sleep score. You wake up, I'm feeling bad. I don't have energy. I don't want to wake up in the morning. I want to go back to sleep and game over, completely down in energy level. That's one of the main signs that your body is telling you there's something wrong. The energy is getting wasted somewhere else. It just flows in the wrong direction. So listen to your body a lot. You have the pain in your body, the back pain, the neck pain, the psychosomatic medicine is very relevant. It's still here, always tells us a lot. But of course, one of the signs is sleep. When you feel lack of energy, you constantly want to sleep. You're constantly feeling tired. And of course, if we do the lab work, we'll look at from the medical standpoint, from the physical health. If there are no issues, that's for sure. Let's look what's going on. Usually when we work with people, yes, if we're talking about business, okay, let's see at business, what's going on there? Where is your energy goes? Like, why are you getting drained? You don't like what you do, or maybe it's some specific areas of your business. Maybe you don't like dealing with paper and documents. And okay, there's a solution to that. Let's hire somebody. Let's get a support. Let's get AI to optimize our workflows. These days, we have all of those amazing tools available too. Okay, if we solve that problem, would it make things better? Would you feel better? Yeah, maybe. If not, okay, let's dive deeper again. What else is out there? Maybe it's like overall the whole business by itself, you're not feeling passionate about. doing it at all. And the more you dive into uncovering what is a true issue, what is going on in feeling inside of you, then that's for sure a sign for you. Okay, this is time to change. This is time to get into another field, another industry with that alignment and that feeling of fulfillment, what you are planning to do. But again, your body is the key. Listen to it. And if it screams at you, if you have like temperature, literally physical pain or sleep, tiredness, and you know that everything is good on the physical level with lab work, that's it. That's definitely something that is getting drained. But always remember there's a business side. Yes, there's also family and relationships. When this struggles, like when the relationships struggle, when we have issues with the family, we have conflicts, we have arguments, that drains a lot of our energy. And sometimes the problem is not about business. It's not about not finding the time to do the business. It's actually all of those conflicts and tension in your family, in your relationships that drains you and takes it all out of you. And I've had some clients come into me, I want to work on my business. I want to leave my 9 to 5 and go all into business. So like, okay, let's analyze your life. What's happening in your personal life? Yeah, I have problems with my partner. Like, okay. And it took us probably a month and a half to make sure that she feels stable in that relationship. That first, let's figure out what's happening there. Only after that, we can get to work on the business side because she could not do anything. She could not focus on business. She could not do any task. She could not find the time because all her focus was solving the problems and arguments and conflicts with her partner.
I think, okay, we have to go back really quick on what you said that is so important. I hope people rewind and re listen to the part where you talked about the body telling you, giving you signs about stuff. Like, I'm very into this right now, and kind of how Kari was saying earlier, she wants to get more into meditation. I'm actually taking a Reiki class in about a month because I like deeply feel the need to learn how to move energy a little bit better for myself and for other people. And I'm like really, really interested in that. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are so trained to push through things and hustle and work so hard. And you think about the tech industry, how like they don't sleep, they live on caffeine and it's like this weird pride culture in a way of like working so hard like that. But in reality, your body, if you are capable, and everybody is capable of tuning in and receiving signs however you want to see those signs, but your body will tell you when something is like a good thing, a good gut feeling. And sometimes you feel so energized. And I've had tingles when I've thought of an idea that I'm like, this is it. Or I'll think of something that I have to do and dread, just absolute dread. And like you said, tiredness or low depression type of like zero motivation, right? And that's really powerful. And I think we dismiss that a lot, but that's something that we should take time to sit with decisions or possible decisions and say, body, or however you want to say it, how do you feel about this project that I'm going to do or this client that I want to take on? Like, what's your first instinct? Your body will tell you the answer. And I really, really think more people should be tuning into that.
Yeah. Agree on that. And it's amazing that you're starting Reiki. I think that's also a great way to boost up that energy and flow in your body too. And yeah, like your body, yeah, can keep on working and working and working, like sleep 5 hours a day, and then it's just gonna shut down. I have an entrepreneurial husband at home as well. And of course, I can come and tell him like, you don't sleep enough. But it took him by himself realizing it that yeah, my body is struggling. I'm feeling constantly tired. I am getting sick. I'm like, okay, you see, I don't have to say it. Like, of course, I can come and say, but until you experience it yourself, what it is, like, I'm not going to give you all of those reminders nonstop that you need to take care of your body. You need to listen to your body more and to slow down sometimes when it's needed. Yeah, as you just mentioned, we're in this environment of hustling and grinding and having multiple jobs on the side and trying to get to that again success of our own. And we just forget to pause and reset. I always recommend at least have like a 1 day a week when you just reset. It's your alone time. You're with your thoughts. Maybe it's meditating, maybe it's going for a solo walk, getting your coffee, matcha, whatever you enjoy to actually reset and feel better.
Well, and on that note, what are maybe a few actual concrete practices that someone can do to either have a mindset shift while they're maybe in between a pivot, or they're looking to switch careers completely or take on a new passion project? So maybe a practice to help with that mindset shift, or maybe stay grounded, something like meditation, Reiki. Like, what are some things that you tell your clients they should work on?
Yeah, I love the morning practices. I love the morning intention setting. And even like 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. It helps to set the tone for the whole day. And intention setting, I do those meditations live for free, open to everyone Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For over a year now. Over a year now, every morning, 6 a.m. PST for half an hour. And it's a drop in. You can always come and we do 10 minutes meditation and we fill our body with the energy and we set the intention for the day. And I always ask, how do you want to spend this day? What is your main focus for today? Maybe it's about handling your emotions. Maybe it's about handling your stress. Maybe it's not letting your emotions take over you, control you in different situations. But the moment you set that intention, you can always come back to it during the day when something happens. You're like, I set that intention. Oh my God, I told myself that I'm not going to get triggered by this. And here I am doing that. And setting intention and especially writing it down, that is very powerful because again, you can always come back to it. And I always give like 5 minutes of some practices from energy medicine practices, tapping practices to activate the body, to activate the energy flow, to get that focus as well during the day. But this is one of the most powerful ones, journaling and intention setting. Journaling at the beginning of the week to set up, okay, what are you trying to achieve this week? Where are you going? And achieve, same idea as success is not only about goals, monitoring, getting followers, posting 5 reels and creating content. Sometimes it is about emotional balance. It's taking care of yourself. Maybe it's workout as well. Maybe your goal for this week is take care of your health, and that's your primary focus. But this helps for sure. Journaling is the key when you especially change and do have this shift and moving from one industry, moving from one field to another field. Just sit down and write it down and write down by hand, please, not typing it on your laptop on your phone because there've been lots of research done and scientific research done on the whole point of taking your pen or pencil, piece of paper, and writing it down actually helps a lot, both your mind and your physical body, to put it all down on paper.
I think it's so important for people to remember to disconnect, right? I think like putting your phone away, not being on your laptop, like you said, like journaling by hand versus like typing it out, it doesn't feel the same. Even like yesterday, I was like, okay, I have a bunch of stuff I should do. But my husband was like, go like do whatever you need to do to recharge. And I literally was like, I'm going to go to the park and sit outside and read. And it was so nice. And it's just like, kind of coming back to yourself, right? Like disconnecting from social media, your email, all of that, and just being like in a moment and enjoying the world around you.
Yeah. And of course, going out in nature. So, as you just said, you went to the park. So, it's extra bonus going out, spending time outdoors, not just indoors, but going for a walk, going out to the lake, to the ocean, to the water. Water has this healing element of cleaning energy. If you don't live near the water, just stand next to the shower, like in your shower for like 10 minutes to clean it up. I sometimes literally, especially right now while we are recording this, we are in the new moon season and spring equinox time as well. When the energy is getting renewed, I always just stand in under the shower, under the water for 10 minutes and say to myself, I am cleaning all the negativity. I am letting it all go. I don't want that. I release that. I release all the blockages, whatever is around me, because especially for people who are in the online presence and social media, there are so many people around who are watching you, sometimes not with the best intentions and thoughts, with some negative thoughts, with feelings of jealousy, right? So you just want to clean it up. You just want to release it. And again, nature, water, taking a bath, cold plunge, that would be as well. Sauna can clean the energy too.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Lisa, if these were practices that you put into place when you were sort of reinventing yourself, because I know you mentioned earlier you had a lot of feedback from your inner circle and family and friends of like, what are you doing? And so I think that's a big fear for people, right? Like the fear of the criticism, the judgment, your family and friends not understanding like what you're doing with your life. And so how would you suggest people navigate that fear to step into this newer version of themselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think like if the person is struggling to do that themselves, go I personally had a coach. I got to work with a coach for almost a year to help me with that transition from from point A to point B. In the mindset, I worked in the past with a therapy. I worked with a spiritual mentor as well. So I would always have people who would help me and guide me. Sometimes I would take a pause because I would know and I will have enough skills and knowledge on to deal with it on my own by myself to apply whatever they shared with me. And then I would get to work with them again. So I worked with a coach once a week to actually help me with that transition and doing again some practices to set my mind. And because when you have this switch, it's not just about the switch in your job, in your field, in the activity you do. It's a completely different environment. And you get a new circle of people. And the more you grow, the more you transition, the people change as well. Your friend circle changes as well. Your mindset, your view in life, some values, the shift as well. So it's always nice to have an additional support, getting that person who can help you and guide you so you don't feel lost. I would say like lost in a foggy, rainy days that you don't know where you're going or what you are doing by yourself.
That. And to kind of wrap things up a little bit, if someone's listening to this episode and they really feel like they've kind of outgrown the version of their business as it is right now, and they maybe built it a few years ago. I mean, Kari and I have had our businesses for 10 years, and every day we say we're going to change it up. So this thought comes regularly. But what's maybe one step that they could take today in maybe kind of evolving their business without feeling like they have to start from scratch? Because that feels very overwhelming. And that's probably a lot of the times why people don't even make any changes, even though the business no longer feels like them. They're like so overwhelmed with what does it even mean to change the business? What's something that they can do that's maybe not overwhelming? And perhaps it is like journaling about it. I don't know. But to me, now that you said that earlier, I'm like, oh, maybe I just need to sit with my thoughts and take pen to paper.
Yeah, the whole feeling of overwhelming is coming from the idea that you have too many things going on in your mind. And to ease off the anxiety, as you just said, sit down and write it down. And maybe in this case, if you're actually feeling overwhelmed, okay, I can let you use your laptop and your computer and your phone to do it because it's probably going to be a lot, especially after 10 years of running the business. You're like, yeah, I've probably accumulated a lot inside of me that I need to put it down, right? So write it all down, like have an actual session when you dedicate that time. How do you feel? What's going on right now? And I like to break it down into points. What do I like about my business? What parts of the business I truly enjoy doing? what parts of my business I am actually struggling, and it's a painful task for me to do and deal with that. And the third point, what I wish I could have done if I had more time to do it. Maybe there's something like maybe you always wanted to introduce an extra service, maybe an extra thing to do, but you never had enough time to even try it. So look at the things. What do you want to add from your passions? Maybe, as you just shared, maybe the new passion is coming from the spiritual side. It's Reiki, it's energy healing. And okay, let's just put it all down and see how potentially I could introduce that into my business. Maybe, yes, I'm focusing on the weddings, but maybe I can introduce hosting retreats for business owners or for couples or for like honeymoon stages, something for energy cleaning, right? Helping and reuniting. So you can always be a little bit more creative in that. But yes, sitting down and writing, that's a huge, powerful tool that people tend to forget about. And yeah, having a clear mind, structured mind, organizing it all. You can dump your ideas into AI these days, and they can bring you and give you an amazing workflow and structured information that even these days you don't have to write it in a nice way, in a structured way, because you get an additional tools which can help you with that.
That's true. I will say sometimes I do brain dumps in AI and they give me back too many new ideas and I get overwhelmed again. And I'm like, nope, we're not even going down that path until I need actual like SOPs or workflow. If it's an idea generation thing, for me, it's almost too much.
Yeah, I personally love using it with my voice notes. I love sending the voice messages. I express my ideas and things better when I speak. Even if I record voice messages to my friends, sometimes I record it and I already give an answer to myself. I don't need to say it to my friend anymore because I just explained it all. So I would actually record it. I have this monthly practice that I do. I started at the beginning of this year doing the daily reflections. And at the beginning of the year, I would find 10 to 15 minutes to write it down. Okay, what did happen today? How did the day go on a scale from 1 to 10? What did I enjoy? What I didn't enjoy? What did I do? What I'm grateful for? And then after some time, I would be too tired to do it before going to bed and I would start forgetting it. So I just started using the voice messages. I would just speak for 10 minutes to AI. It would give me the transcript. I'm saying, do not change anything, just literally give me word to word. And then at the end of the month, I'm combining it all and ask AI to analyze it, the key lessons, the key takeaways
I
that
love that.
I've gone through in this month. So I've been doing it for January, February. Now March is coming up for me to record like 30 or 40 minutes podcast to my AI now.
Yeah.
Just explaining what I've gone through in this month. It's a nice way to reflect as well and to keep track of what you've been going through as well.
I love that. I feel like mine would be like, you're all over the place.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's your personality
Yeah.
type. That's who you are.
No, that's great. Like a feedback practice to just kind of figure out the common themes and how you are feeling over a month's time span.
Yeah, especially at the end of the year. I don't know about you, but I've been doing like reflections at the end of the year. And in the past few years, I would be like, oh my God, again, nothing happened. Especially when we come back to the point of only focusing on the monetary physical goals. And by reflecting on a regular basis, it just helps you to even acknowledge the fact, oh my God, I've done a lot. I've actually done a lot you don't notice it, you don't see it, you are constantly forgetting about it. So it helps a lot to reflect on a regular basis and see your growth, and like you actually have done a lot and you should be proud of yourself and of your journey too.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, thank you so much. This was so helpful. And we want to link your meditations for people as well. Gabby and I are going to definitely check it out. How can you tell us where people can find you online, how they can work with you? Yeah, social media, website.
Yeah, it's just Liza Spirit, Liza, and Spirit, same on Instagram, same idea on the website. You just add .com to it. And yeah, you will be happy to get people coming in and supporting as much as I can with giving lots of resources available too.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lisa. This is really great. And Jabbers, you can always find us on Substack. We have weekly posts, and then our paid members get a bonus episode every month. And until then, we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.